Well, hello. This is Myhandsmyheart. My name is Harvey, and I am so glad to finally be introducing myself to you. I've already put over, I think, 180 songs on my channel, but I have never even showed my face or mentioned my voice before. It's not much to look at, is it? But I am glad to help you, and I would like to add a little bit more to the channel than what I've been doing so far. And what I'd like to do is begin to share my heart a little bit about not only why I do what I do on the piano and why I share, but some maybe helpful tips and tricks that will help you as well. Perhaps you are just getting started, or maybe you're an intermediate player. Maybe you're a church pianist or someone who just enjoys playing. If any of those apply to you, hopefully what I have to share with you might provide a different perspective and maybe some ideas to incorporate into your playing. I began playing when I was about 5. My mother was a church pianist, and as soon as I could climb, I did climb right up onto the piano bench with my mom. And before too terribly long, I began to emulate what she was playing. My mother, being an ear musician, recognized an ear when she heard one, and so I was put into piano lessons, and the rest is history, as they say. Now I've been playing over 40 years. I do have a degree in piano performance. I do play for the church that I pastor, and I do other various things in the piano world as well. And so with all that being said, I hope I can help you. This is all subjective. There are no laws which cannot be broken when it comes to playing piano. In fact, you may disagree with me on a few of these things. That is okay. Perhaps you have better ideas. Absolutely. I would love to learn from you if the opportunity presented itself. So with all that in mind, 40 years playing the piano, 30 years playing in church settings. I began playing when I was 12 as a church pianist. With all that in mind, here's some of my ideas that might can help you. Some of my perspectives, some of my experience, and some of my thoughts after playing as long as I've played. So I hope you enjoy. All right, my first thought today is this, and I hope this encourages everyone. And that thought is, everybody starts somewhere. I did not begin as an adept pianist. I began playing hot cross buns just like everybody else. Same for you. No matter where you are at in your music experience, you had a beginning. Maybe some of you are at that beginning, and that's okay. Be encouraged. You cannot get to a certain place without lots of dedication, lots of practice. There are no shortcuts. Everyone starts somewhere. For me, I started by climbing up beside my mother on the piano and trying to play what she played, taking my little finger and playing Amazing Grace the best I could, maybe playing some notes on a scale. I only have faint memories of this, so early was it in my childhood, but that was a start for me. And then they put me in piano lessons, which I loved and had a great time. I remember my first piano lessons at the teacher's house. I remember my first recitals. That was all a beginning for me, where I learned what a quarter note was, where I learned what a time signature was. The point being, we all start somewhere. And that's forward steps in the right direction, baby steps. And so I want to encourage you, if you're nearer to that beginning today, plug on, push on, don't stop. We all got to start. And so hopefully videos like this can encourage you, can give some positive motivation to you, can help push you forward to be the best pianist that you can be. That leads me to my second thought I'd like to share with you today is this. Learning piano is a marathon, not a sprint. It's easy to watch very good pianists and say, oh man, I want to be playing like that. I'm going to push myself as hard as I can, practice hours per day, and I'm going to get there. Well, unfortunately, that's not the way it works. I am still progressing at my level. Learning piano is not so much about taking gigantic steps in a short time period. Rather, it's about being consistent over a long time period. You've heard of marathon runners and you've heard of sprinters, perhaps. Sprinters go as fast as they can for a short time period. But marathon runners, they've learned to go the extra distance. They may not go as fast as the sprinters can, but they go for a long distance and then they keep going some more. And that's more what it is to play an instrument, especially one like piano. There are many fundamentals that have to be learned. There are many things to build upon, and it's not wise to try to skip steps that we don't think we need and get to the advanced stuff that we enjoy. No, piano is a fundamental instrument where we learn the basics, and then we learn more basics, and then we build advanced basics on top of that. That's the best way to learn. And remember that learning piano is a marathon, not a sprint. My third thought I'd like to share with you today is that your path will look different than mine. My path looks different than yours. We all learn in different ways. We all have various inclinations of ways that are helpful for us to learn. Some people are ear players. Some people are note players. Some people will thrive under the education of a classically trained musician. Others will do very well being self-taught. And in today's day and age, there are so many materials that can help this self-taught musician, YouTube being one of those. And so just realize that your path will look different. You don't have to go down the exact same road that someone else went, or not even the same road that they recommend. I remember growing up, having a piano teacher was a luxury that my family could not always afford. Vast years went by where I did not take lessons, but I continued to plug forward. I continued to listen to other pianists. I continued to observe and watch my mom and learn from her. And I continued to practice things I heard on the radio and other things like that. And so my path looked a little bit different. Perhaps by the time I got to college, I was classically undertrained, but some of the things I brought to the table were advanced for perhaps a student of my age, especially when you consider the ear training that I had received up until that point. So don't fret if your path is different. Don't fret if you have to learn a certain way and you wish it could be another way. Respect the path you're on. Do the best you can. Perhaps videos like this and from other creators are a part of your path of being a better musician and a better pianist. If so, that's great. Keep at it. My fourth thought I'd like to share with you is to state the obvious, state which most of us probably already know. Some people are note players and some people are ear players. But the best way to go is the balance between the two. Now, I can play ear all day long. All of my videos that I record, you may notice that there is no sheet music in front of me. That's playing by ear, playing from memory. Much of that material that I play is spontaneous, and I'm just sitting down and that's what comes out. But if you were to put a sheet of paper in front of me containing music notes, I would still be able to play. Now, there was a time in my life where that was not the case, where even playing hymn level would have been a challenge for me. But over the years, I began to learn to play by note. And of course, having formal secondary education in piano greatly expanded my ability to play by note. And so I want to encourage you, if you're a note player, perhaps you should remove the notes and try to get a balance. Play something from memory, play something by ear, develop that part of your playing. And if you're an ear player, like I started out, well, you need to learn how to play by notes. You need to learn music theory. Don't discount that stuff. It will make you a phenomenally better player, learning both ways. You might would consider a piano teacher. You might would consider education from online software or YouTube videos in which they go through more formal music instruction. The best type of player is not just an ear player and not just a note player, but someone who can do both, that has a good balance between the two. My fifth thought that I would like to share with you today is this: develop your toolbox. Now, when it comes to life, I'm not a very handy person, I must admit. I don't know how to fix things. I don't know how to build things. But I'm not talking about that sort of toolbox. I'm talking about your piano toolbox, your music toolbox. I remember when I was developing as a piano player, when I was a kid and a teenager, how much I enjoyed watching other piano players and trying to emulate the parts of their playing that I enjoyed, that I was attracted to. Maybe certain licks they did on the piano, maybe certain ways that they played chords, maybe their pedaling technique. And I would watch them, and then I would try to incorporate some of that into my playing. And truth be told, after many years of playing, a lot of what I do has been picked up from other pianists. I mean, there's nothing new under the sun, the book of Ecclesiastes in the Bible says. And when it comes to playing the piano, it's highly doubtful that any of us are going to invent a new technique at this point. But what we can do is develop our toolbox. We can learn this from that player. Maybe we can learn some jazz chords from this player. Maybe we can pick up some style from the blues part of music. Maybe we can learn the way that Southern gospel music addresses a fast 4/4 beat, etc., etc. There's different things you can do, from very small 2 or 3 note doodads all the way up to larger ways of playing and chording and phrasing. Develop your toolbox. Watch what other pianists do. If you see something you like, try to do it. Try to work it in one of your pieces. I remember growing up and watching Sandy Patty and Amy Grant and Larnell Harris and other Christian musicians such as those people. And I would watch or listen to the piano part of their songs. And I remember this one way that the pianist had of just phrasing, of just providing a blanket of sound underneath the music. And to this day, I remember that tool, and I still use that tool. In fact, in one of my future videos here, I may show you some particular tools that I use and that you might could use too. And that would certainly qualify as one of them. Watch what other piano players do. Develop your toolbox. My 6th point today is this, and this one is a little bit more subjective. Perhaps this one is going to be harder for me to communicate, and maybe this is more of a personal theory of playing as it is an overarching rule for piano players. But it's this. It's not about what I can do, it's about what the audience hears. You see, I can do a lot on the piano if I so chose to do so. I could probably play wilder and faster and crazier and more impressively on any given piece that I play. But sometimes that's not the right choice. It's not about what I'm doing, it's about the people who are listening to me. It's about their experience as well. Now, if I'm playing in a room by myself, all bets are off. I'll play however I want. I'll play as much as I want. Perhaps I'll practice some of the more difficult rhythmic things and technical things and theory things that I know to practice. But if I'm playing for a church service and I'm playing during a soft part of the church service, well, it really wouldn't make much sense for me to start breaking into jazz licks with my right hand. As much as that would impress someone, and as much as it might even sound very interesting, it would be totally inappropriate for that part of my playing and for the audience and the atmosphere I was playing to. And so just remember this, that as we develop into pianists, it's not necessarily all the time about what we are able to do, but it's about what the audience hears. And my 7th and final thought to share with you is this. If you truly want to learn to play the piano, you're never going to let yourself down. I've taught with a lot of people over the years. Many of them are pianists, many of them are not. But you know what I've never heard someone say in all my years? I've never heard someone tell me, man, I'm glad I stopped playing piano. No, I've always heard the opposite. I've always heard someone say, I wish I had kept it up. I wish I would have kept playing. I wish I would have progressed. I've always heard that from other people. And if you're going to play piano, it's going to be a long walk. As I talked about earlier, it's a marathon, not a sprint, but it will be worth it. And piano is a wonderful instrument that can lead to other musical instruments as well. In college, a lot of people that played other instruments are saying the ones that also had a piano background had a great advantage over those who didn't. That's because we learn how to build chords in theory. We learn how to play notes other than the single melody note that a trumpet or a clarinet would play. You see, I also played clarinet, and I was in band. And the one thing I did not like about playing clarinet in band was this. If the bass note was wrong, I couldn't fix it. I guess I could have stood up and go over to the tuba section and slap them around and said, "Get your notes right." But no, that would have been uncalled for, of course. I could only play my note and be responsible for my note. But on piano, I have total control over volume, over dynamics, over phrasing, over the range that I'm playing at, over the speed and the tempo. Total control. The piece is under my control. And so for that reason, I really enjoy piano because I'm able to shape the entire piece a lot more than I would be on any other instrument. Now, wind ensembles and orchestras certainly have a beauty that the piano cannot duplicate as well. But on a piano, it has its own thing going as well. And I just love playing the instrument. I'm so glad that I did not stop as a kid and kept going through. And I love playing the instrument today because it is the one instrument, in addition to guitar and organ, it's the one family of instruments that doesn't need anyone else playing along for you to speak to someone from your heart and your mind and your soul. So I hope some of these thoughts have spoke to you a little bit, or at least encouraged you a little bit. I'm going to share some techniques and some other things in the future, and maybe do some of these videos every week or two. Meanwhile, I'll still be dropping the songs that I play. And if I can ever drop a particular song for you, let me know, and I'll do my best. Although sometimes I'm a little slow in getting my music out. Life gets busy, my job gets busy, and I do all of this on the side. I appreciate you listening and hope you can subscribe and enjoy my future videos. May God bless you. And if I can ever do anything for you, please leave me a reply and I'll do everything I can. Have a great day.